In this first video, we are going to be covering 4 essential things. What is web development? How the web works. We are going to talk about the essential tools you need to start coding and build web application today. And finally, we're going to be talking about hosting and domain. How do you put the website you've built? How do you make it available for everyone all over the world to see your work? And then we're going to be sharing some other tools and materials that you're going to be using. So, what is web development? Web development is basically the process of creating websites or web applications. So you'll be asking, what is website? What is web applications? So in the early days, what we normally have is websites. Website is just like pages that shows information to people. You can only interact with those pages by reading the information on those websites. So in the early days, what we are going to have is blog, research websites, or company websites where you have the home page, you have the contact us informations, you have about the organization or the company profile. All of these are websites. They provide you information that you can consume. And on those early days, most of the applications that we interact with are all on our system. You remember you have CDs in which you can use to install application on your computer. But today, a lot of these applications we use normally install are now being delivered on our web browsers. That's what we call web applications. So web applications are not just websites that you interact with. So they've now essentially become something that you interact with. You can provide information for it, and then it can give you results. So like for instance, you're using Facebook. Facebook is a web application. You can you can write messages, upload videos, comment, interact with your friends, and all of those data that you're sharing with Facebook is persisted. Like if you upload a post on Facebook today, when you come back tomorrow, you still see it there. So those are web applications, and you have used websites to book your flight, to apply for a job, all of those things, or to manage your company, businesses, CRM softwares, and all those things. All of these are web applications that are being delivered via the web. So if you look at it, both websites and web applications are built using the same set of technologies. So which is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So these are the 3 core technologies we are going to be focusing on for now. But then you have to think about it. All of this information we store on web applications, where are they stored? So that means there is another mix to it, which is a database. But we are still going to talk about that in future videos. But just understand for now, the core technology that we use to build websites today, they are HTML, which is called hypertext markup language, and CSS, which is cascading style sheets, and then JavaScript. We are going to go into all of these technologies in more details. Another thing you need to understand about web development is this: people who are involved. So, and there are 3 essential people involved when it comes to web application development as a profession, and which is the journey you are embarking now. So you can be a front-end developer. Front-end developer are the people that design websites, the code, and everything you interact with on the website is the job of a front-end developer. And then we have what we call the back-end developer. That was what I was telling you here, that is the missing part. So the back-end developer are the people that maintain and create services that store all the informations on your web applications. For instance, there is a reason why you post or upload an image to Facebook, and that image is retained on Facebook and not get lost immediately you refresh or when you log out. Because those information you hand over to Facebook, there are people who are engineers who have built systems, they call it backends, who are processing all of those information and storing it in the database so that you can be able to retrieve them in the future. And also we have people who combine all of this knowledge together. We call them full stack developer. Full stack developer they have knowledge of front-end development. They also have back-end knowledge. So they can build application single-handedly by themselves. And there are also people who are like, they love front-end development, so they make the decision and they stick to it. There are people who are back-end, they just love back-end development and they stick to it. And some people are like, okay, why not just combine both worlds? And those are the people we call the OGs, right? They're the full stack developer. So there's nothing wrong to explore any of these three. You can try front-end, which is what we are going to be focusing on first section of these courses, which is using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to build the front end. And then we're going to bring some backend mix into it. And then you can then explore and make the decision for yourself. Which area do you want to focus on? Do I want to focus on front end? Do I want to focus on backend development? Or do I just want to do everything? And that choice is yours. Then another thing I want us to talk about is how the web works. So the web is simply enormous infrastructure. We have wired, we have cables under seas, we have wireless network, we have LAN, and every other thing that connects to each other to make the internet. But I'll just like break it into this simple diagram for us to just understand how it works. Let's say you have a user and then you have this device, maybe a laptop or a phone that you're using. And then you're connected to the internet. Maybe you subscribe to via a network service and everything. And then you go to www.google.com. So when you type in that address, www.google.com, that is what we call the server. Google itself have a server where they store all of this information that you are retrieving. So google.com have servers, they have database that host all of the HTML, the CSS, the pages, the data that you're seeing. And then when you send that connection to www.google.com, they send those information back to you via the internet. So, and the internet actually basically work on what we call this HTTP protocol. So the HTTP protocol is a protocol that is designed so because if there is going to be a communication between two people, it's just like two friends who want to talk to each other and they don't want any other people to know about it, and so they've devised a code to be able to communicate. So if I give you a letter, go and give it to that my friend, even though you open the letter and you try to make sense of it, you don't understand it because we have set a standard to each other to be able to decode that message. So, and that's exactly what HTTP is about. HTTP, don't even think so much about it, but as you go in your journey in development, you will learn more about it. So HTTP is just a set of standards that international community and the tech industry have created as a protocol. That how do we communicate between a device, a user, and a server? We don't know each other, but we have to find a way to trust each other. So we need a protocol, we need a channel of decoding what we send to each other. So, and that's what the HTTP server is. So we have this on the left side here, which is we can call the client. Yeah, so we can call this the client. So I'll just call this client. So the client is just you or your device, and then we have the server, the other person you're trying to message with. So, and it's not, that's why sometimes some application or websites require you to log in and create an account so that they can know you and they can trust you more. But there are a lot of services that you can still use for free, even without creating an account. But there's still a way for us to be able to see that the connection between me, the client, and the server I'm trying to connect with is secured and is trustworthy to some extent. So the HTTP protocol makes sure of that over the internet. So that's how the web works. It's just a lot of device talking to a server somewhere and exchanging information with each other. So what are the essential tools and environment setup? So essential tools and environment we use in building websites. So number one, for you to write code, you need some kind of editor. It's just like I used to say, if you're a writer, writers, you use Microsoft Words. If you are a painter, you use canvas and stuff. So if you are writing code also, we use what we call a code editor. And one of them is called VS Code. VS Code is a code editor that is really, really popular. It was developed by Microsoft and open sourced. So anybody can use it for free. Either you are using Windows, you are using Linux, or you are using Mac, you can use VS Code for free, and it's very, very amazing. I use VS Code even on my own professional work on a daily basis. It's really, really great. So why I love web development so much is that the entry point is so easy. You just need your computer, a laptop, a desktop computer, or a tab, whatever it is. And then even some people use their phone to write codes. And then you need a web browser, a Chrome web browser, that's all, that you can use to be able to browse and see what you are actually building. So we are going to go through each of these and where you can be able to get them. So go to code.visualstudio.com. You can be able to download Visual Studio. It doesn't matter the environment you're using. So if we go to Visual Studio Code, this is the website, code.visualstudio.com. So you can see, because I'm on Mac, immediately it told me, oh, okay, I should download for Mac. So I already downloaded it. So if you want to download, just click on download. It's going to download it automatically for you. If you are on Windows, you can see or other platforms. You can see for Windows, Windows 10, Windows 11, you can just download it. If you're on Debian, or if you're on Red Hat, or any types of Linux, you can download it here. If you use Mac, if it's Silicon or Intel chip, you can download each of them. So it's open source. You don't even have to pay anything, and it's totally free. The other thing you need after this is actually what we call the Chrome, the browser, because this browser is what interprets every code you write. So it interprets every code you write and show it for you. So a browser is like the operating system for web and websites. So you write website code, the browser renders those code for you. I'm going to show you an example of how this works. So essentially, I will recommend you to use Google Chrome, because Google Chrome is one thing that a lot of developers use, and they have what we call developer tools. These developer tools allow you to debug your codes. We're going to go into details of this in our next section. So download Visual Studio Code, download and Google browser, and then you are good to go. Those are the two essential things you need. You can build Facebook, Instagram, the next billion-dollar business for the web, and everything you need is your laptop and these two tools, and you're ready to go. That's why the web is so amazing. Now, let's move forward. The last thing we're going to talk about today is hosting and domain. So what does domain name means? What's its web hosting? So domain name is actually the address you type to be able to access a resource. So, and this address have to be unique to only you. So that's why if you have a new business idea, usually you're registering a company. There can be two companies, right? So maybe you go to a company directory and you want to register a new company. If the name you are trying to choose is available, they will ask you to choose a different kind of name. Because of what? Company and name identity, integrity, and branding and stuff like that. The same thing is for domain on the web also. Every web address is unique, is the single one. There can be two google.com, there can be two facebook.com. So, and that is the way it is. So for you to get your domain name, there are a lot of services that sell domain. So like whois.com, you can get domain name, register a domain name, you can see. So, and here you can come here and search for domain name. So I'll just say fireman site. This is just an example. I'm going to search. Is this domain available? So we just give it a couple of time to be able to search. So it's going to, these platforms, we go through all the registry, on the internet, and it's trying to look, does this domain name I'm trying to get, is it available? or not. As you can see, firemansite.com is actually available. So because it's available, you can just buy it and then it's yours forever. In as much as you are paying for it, it's yours. If you don't pay for it, someone else can snap it up. So, and you can see different options of domain. There are different kind of domain. There are domain that represent your country, your business is recited. There is .org that talks about NGOs. Now there is .net, that is like maybe networking and technology companies use that. Now there's a lot of other domain now, .shop, .info, .live, .online. So many kind of names, so many. Even if you want to see more results, you see a lot of kind of names. So domains is a unique address that identify your own website on the internet. And then we have what we call hosting. Hosting is when you put all your files that describe your website and you put it on your web server, so that when someone go to firemansite.com, those your resources that you have built about your website, all the codes and all the information you need to present to your users can be rendered to them. So there are a lot of hosting companies out there. There are a lot of domain name registrars out there. So we also have like Netlify is a very good one. But for the sake of this course, we are going to be using Vercel, and I'm going to show you how to use Vercel. I use Vercel for all of my hostings, and you can start for free, which is really, really great. All right, so we've learned a lot today. Let's just recap. Yeah, so that's it. This is the first video, and we go over all the basics information you need to know about web development. What is web development? Different kind of difference between the website and web application. Different type of people that work in the web development. We have the web front-end developer, the back-end, and also we have the full stack. We talked about hostings, we talked about domain names and what's the difference. We talked about how the web works, understanding the relationship between the client and the server and HTTP. You understand? And we talked about hosting. So all of this information I've shared today, I want you to go and research more about them, learn more about it, because in our next video, I will go a little bit deeper about some of these tools we've talked about. Number one, Chrome, and also VS Code. How to use VS Code. I want you to install VS Code, download it, download Chrome on your computer. So our next video, I'm going to walk you through how VS Code works, how you write your code with it, how this editor works, because this is an environment that you're going to be working throughout this course, right? So you need to understand how it works. You need to have it installed on your computer. So, and all of the terms that I've mentioned here, if there's anything you don't understand, put it in the comment section. I will definitely explain it a bit more. Or you could just like take it as a challenge to research about them. Research about HTTP. What is the protocol? What does it mean? How does it work? Who defined it? You understand? So understanding all of these things, just be curious. You'll discover that you will learn a lot about how web development works. And then in the next section, we'll start to get a little bit more technical. See you next time. Thank you.